baseball's been a thing, but when you do it for an extended period of time over the course of a season in hopes of winning a World Series, that's where it crosses the line. But again, leave us your thoughts on Twitter. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to interact with you. And yeah, I think it's definitely something of intrigue, especially now. And we'd love to even discuss future Hall of Fame ballots. But, we have a lot of new stuff coming through the pipeline here at the Tribune, and we're going to try to tackle as much of it as we can.
No doubt about it. Well, at Tribune South, if you want to follow us there, go ahead.
On Twitter, you can follow us there. You can follow me at @Adio_Lewis00. I share a lot of the Tribune's content as well as my material that I write and post on the Tribune. So again, you can find it there on Twitter. You can follow Scott at Scoop3333313 for every World Series that Derek Jeter won during his career.
That was good.
So
that was good.
Yeah, I
have to remember that one.
The Hall of Fame. We were talking about Eli Manning for the Hall of Fame. Even some football. Who are some current football players that you think are going to go to the Hall of Fame? Obviously, I think of a guy like Brady. Going to go to the Hall of Fame now. Eli, I think, is going to be a first ballot.
Yeah, but I don't know whether he would get first ballot. I could see Eli maybe second or third ballot.
I think the fact that he did it against Tom Brady in arguably the most dominant era of the Patriots history.
Hey, second or third isn't the worst thing in the world.
Oh, no, absolutely not. Look at Brian Urlacher. I don't think he got in on the first ballot, and he's one of the greatest offensive linemen.
Eli's wait won't be long. Do I think it's a first ballot? Well, I'm not sure about that. Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning is for sure. Well, current players. Russell Wilson, I think, has already done enough, in my opinion. He's won the Super Bowl with Pete Carroll. He's been to another one. Again, those are the standards that the NFL voters tend to hold.
Might as well put Aaron Rodgers into the
Aaron Rodgers was a Hall of Famer after he won his first MVP award. I think to succeed Brett Favre the way he did and did it with such class, Aaron Rodgers, and Candy would agree with that too, the big Packer fan that she is a for sure Hall of Famer. I mean, he's got the best touchdown to interception ratio in NFL history. The guy's thrown less than 100 interceptions opposed to nearly 400 touchdown passes. He's just a smart quarterback, and whatever system you put him in, he's going to succeed. Look at what he did with Matt LaFleur. That's the sign of a Hall of Famer, is that if you can win with multiple coaches, and Jeter did that with Girardi and Torrey, then you're a Hall of Famer. I think that matters
there's
because
merit to that.
It's a reflection of your personality and how you gel with those people and how things work out. But again, we'd love to hear from you guys, and
Lewis will go ahead and post that question up on our Twitter page. With that said, our final guest of the night is our own Jake Ronhold, contributor for the South Florida Tribune. Jake, glad to have you on the Sports Exchange.
Good to be back, Scott, on this wonderful Thursday evening.
Well, glad to have you, Jake. So, anyways, you're the last of the Mohegans when it comes to talking baseball. I know we've talked about it. So, the inductions just occurred 48 hours ago. What's your take on what will transpire in Cooperstown later this summer?
Well, I want to start off with the one that a lot of people are forgetting about. We'll get to the elephant in the room here pretty quick. But Larry Walker, look, the thing about me is, as I was in my early teens, I grew up watching guys like Larry Walker, even during the time when Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa, were part of the whole deal, and then Barry Bonds, grows into this big Arnold Schwarzenegger-looking guy at this point. But Larry Walker always looked like the same everyday guy that had the fortune of, yes, hitting in a ballpark like Coors Field. I totally understand that. But the fact is with him is that he had 5 of his 17 years, 100 or more RBIs. His final year was a .289 batting average. His worst ever, Scott, was in 1990 in his second year. Didn't even play 135 games at that point. Otherwise, Larry Walker was legit. He did have one great year where he had 49 home runs, but he was an RBI machine. 383 home runs, but look at his his RBIs is exactly how he got in. 1,311 RBIs. That's incredible. And Larry Walker is still the same old goofball that he was back when I was reading Sports Illustrated for kids. I mean, every time I had the Major League Baseball preview, there's Larry Walker doing something silly in his Rockies uniform. So it was just a great thing to see that Walker finally got in and that he won't be snubbed for another year. Another one, of course, we knew this was coming. I'm happy as ever for Derek Jeter. I'm not happy of the aspect of reaction. I could not understand to me. It really just boggles the mind. I went on Twitter after Derek Jeter got in, and stupid me, but I did it. And people were just ripping presidency. And it was the day of his 3,000th hit. People thought it was coming. They thought it was going to be a shot right across by shortstop and third base. Instead, it was a home run against the Tampa Bay Rays, who were in town at that point. And it was one of the greatest moments in sports history to me. It's still one of my favorites. Because the way that Derek Jeter thanked everybody was just this humility about him. He never made himself bigger than the game. The only time he ever used the game was what he used off the field. And he still seriously has one of the greatest dating profiles ever. But he was known as Mr. November, Captain Clutch. And I'll never forget, even though that the Yankees lost that World Series in 2001 because Luis Gonzalez was a stud, but no, Game 4 of that 2001 World Series, that was his first ever at-bat in November. That's when he got the nickname. Because the Diamondbacks were up 2-1. And I saw a moonshot. I could not believe this was Derek Jeter, who was averaging 19 to 25 home runs a game, a year. He just hit this big-time hit, his first ever at-bat in November. It was incredible. He's won 5 World Series. He was with the same team for 20 years. And his hits. It's unbelievable. I love it how, and I'll bring up one more example. There was a movie a couple years ago, back in 2004. It was called Mr. 3000.
Bernie Mac.
It was with Bernie Mac. And one thing is, I would love it, and I'm never going to say this again, but I want a remake of Mr. 3000, and I want it to be around Derek Jeter. Because even though I was a Yankee hater, I loved watching Derek Jeter play baseball. And I think that's what people have completely lost effect of it. Because you're sitting here, you're whining, you're complaining, because one measly writer who will never say his or her name just said that Derek Jeter wasn't worthy. Okay, that's fine. But you got this guy in Derek Jeter who got in regardless, 98.6%. And you guys just make a big deal out of it. Instead, you should be talking about the greatest memories of this shortstop that we are never going to see again. I just gave you every ounce of why Derek Jeter is one of the greatest clutch hitters of all time. Did you ever once hear me get mad over a mystery writer that got it wrong? No.
No, but Jake, you make an interesting point, and not many people remember this. When Ken Griffey Jr. was elected to the Hall of Fame, and if you want a Michigan parallel, he was elected the same year, or no, I believe the year after, that John Smoltz was elected Michigan product. Ken Griffey Jr. received 99.8% of the vote. And the voters that didn't vote for him, because we need to understand that I think it was at the outset of the 2017 voting process, they trimmed the ballot from about 550 writers to 425, which is what Mo got. Mo got 425 of 425. Those who did not vote for Griffey had came out publicly because MLB Network was televising the ballots, and they were saying the writers' cases for this justification of not voting for Griffey came from the fact that we know he's going to be a Hall of Famer, so why don't I use one of my 10 votes for somebody else? Again, this is speculation. You don't know if that's what this one writer did. And unfortunately, in the age we live in, and you could say fortunately for those who follow it actively, we're going to find out who this person is. He's going to come out with a justification for why he didn't vote for Jeter. But Jeter is not the first person. There was 5% of people that didn't vote for Babe Ruth. A couple percent that didn't vote for Ty Cobb. Tony Gwynn as well. Tom Seaver, Nolan Ryan, 98%. Nolan Ryan is a little overrated by some metrics, but they're surefire Hall of Famers. Longevity is important in this case, and there's people that didn't vote for him. I understand it, but the notion that you're not going to vote for him because you know he's going to get in is stupid. It's archaic.
Yeah, you know what? I'm with you there. I got to give you that one, okay? Don't give me justification that you're going to take that vote someplace else. I understand it. I have lots of friends that actually vote. Okay, that have Hall of Fame votes, don't need to get into them, not necessary. But, remember one thing, guys, social media, okay? Don't lose sight of it. Things become more magnified with social media, and that's why we're hearing more about this. Now, I don't know if I really want to go back and make a case for Ruth, Cobb, and all those guys, because you didn't know what kind of a voter that you were dealing with back then. And you also have to realize there were so many great players back then that you had to start getting them all in. So you don't know where those votes were deferred in order to accommodate that. During a time where you have the pick of the litter is a lot different now versus this class than it was back in the day where you had more great players looking to get in and you were building the hall instead of adding to the hall.
But Jake, you can agree with me on this, and you can too. You grew up in Michigan. Ty Cobb played a majority of his career, other than the 2 years that he was with the Philadelphia A's, with the Detroit Tigers. To say that, and again, to justify not voting for Derek Jeter because a few people didn't vote for the likes of Babe Ruth and Ty Cobb and a bunch of some of the greatest players of all time, pretty much any of the other greatest players of all time who did not receive 100%. There's only one that did it, and Jake, you said it was Mariano Rivera. That's stupid. I think if you think he's a Hall of Famer, you have 10 votes. You're not going to have a class of 10 guys anyway, so why are you not going to use your vote on this one person?
But you're using hypotheticals there because you don't know
No, these
the
aren't hypotheticals.
No,
but
listen.
Actually happened.
No, I'm talking about you're using hypotheticals on the Jeter one. No, I understand about what happened before, so hold on. Okay, again, using a hypothetical that you're taking away a vote for a guy that's going to get in, to me, I understand the logic. Doesn't mean I agree with it is another story. There's a difference between understanding the logic, okay, and agreeing with it. You follow me, Jake? All right? Yes. And that's what I'm saying. Jeter, I believe, deserved 100%. I know that in my mind, okay? And everybody knows the one thing that we can't lose sight of, that if I had to speculate like everybody is doing, that you got to believe it's coming from, that one vote came from Boston. How many times have you seen this drill before, that if you're looking for a guy that the old rivalry, Mariano Rivera was a nice guy, okay? Okay, he was a nice guy that got a lot of outs, and he just even keel. And so was Jeter. But he was the captain of the Yankees, okay? Mariano Rivera was the closer of the Yankees. So I don't know. It's a great thing to debate and discuss, guys. It really is. But in terms of how you predict the logic of past votes about why guys didn't get voted for, we don't know. It's nothing more than speculation. I guarantee you, Jake, and you, Lewis, okay, that if you talk to a different Hall of Fame voter, they're going to give you a different answer on this thing all day long. But go ahead, Jake.
I just find it as a waste of time. I really do, because, if you're going to talk about something, I feel like what's more important is talking about Pete Rose, Kurt Schilling, and then Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens. Because if you want to continue, because all of these guys continue saying that, hey, we got a younger crew now that is part of the voting process that is going to say, yes, we should have, Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds in there. Look, if you're going to put in these two guys that were part of the steroid era,
right?
Fine. But before you even dare write that name in there, you put in Pete Rose.
Oh, yeah.
Pete Rose.
Yeah.
He's one of the greatest baseball players of all time. He's up there in that golden echelon of top 5 greatest sports figures.
Yeah, he's the hit king.
It was incredible.
Yeah, but you got to talk about when it comes to baseball, though. When you think of the guys that won't get in the Hall of Fame for different reasons, then you're leaving a lot of big numbers out for, like I said, different reasons. But you know what, Jake? I agree with you. Pete Rose, you can say about the gambling, but that's a rule that you're not allowed to do it. Therefore, he accepted the ban, and you understand. But I understand the logic that the all-time hits king isn't in there, and Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens.
Right. Geez, they got 70% of the vote, and I'm like, are you kidding me? You guys need to be putting in Pete Rose first. I know Faye Vincent was the one that banned him for life. I get it. But Bud Selig,